And I'm Ellie.
And together we are E Squared.
Welcome back to another episode of Campus Chronicles.
The show brought to you by students for students.
And what are we doing today, Emma?
Today we are here with Brandon Ashley, who is joining us from the Native American Center on campus. Okay, so I just introduced you, but can you tell us who you are and what is the role at the center you represent?
Hello, Yate. My name is Brandon Ashley, and I am Navajo. I am the director for the Native American Center here at San Juan College.
Awesome. And could you tell us more about what the Native American Center is or what you do on campus?
Sure. So the Native American Center is a division of the student support services here, and our primary objective is to provide valuable services to our students and potential students.
Cool.
And this means a variety of different things, such as for our current students would mean admission assistance, information on scholarships and job opportunities, also academic advisement. And then for those who are on campus, we try to understand that our students are sometimes from unique backgrounds and they might need help with child care or maybe counseling, disability services, even housing, and then also try to point them perhaps in the right direction for getting others support from some of the student organizations and clubs aside from what we offer at the Native American Center.
Very nice. Okay.
And then for our listeners who might not know, where is your center located on campus?
Our Native American Center is located on the second floor at the student center, which we always kind of coined the phrase, or someone coined the phrase before my time, but right above Mary's Kitchen.
Okay.
Well, we're very versed in right above Mary's Kitchen area, so...
We frequent your hallway a lot.
I'm sure a lot of students do, so that's an easy landmark to let folks know where we're
at.
Yeah. So nice, convenient spot. Okay. What are some of the services provided at your center? I mean, I know you sort of did a list, but could you go more in depth and
elaborate? So we're always open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we will have a variety of folks who are interested in wanting to become a student at San Juan College. So we'll point them in the right direction to either the website or personally walk them down to the admissions office to get the speak with the right people. Also, again, point them in the right direction for online. On the website, we have a computer lab that we can try to get them registered on site in our Native American Center. And then we also work with our current students. And part of the things that we do is, a lot of times we get students who are current and then want to know how they can actually get scholarships and maybe job opportunities, and we'll try to have that type of information at the Native American Center for them to explore. But I think one of the big things that I think a lot of our students take advantage, and we really applaud them for that, is that we have a great snack bin. Also, we have unlimited supply of coffee, coffee and tea. Okay. So we also have a refrigerator. We have a kitchen that students can put their refrigerated items in, and then use our different. We just recently purchased one of those air fryers, so we're kind of a mini go-to home away from home for some of our students, so they can come down, watch TV, read, study, interact with other students on campus. So it's a very lively atmosphere, I would say, from 10 o'clock to maybe 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we always welcome folks to come on over, and it's always great to hear laughter and people just maybe interacting and meeting new friends who come to the Native American Center almost daily.
Yeah. And that is really cool because do you have a lot of students who go to your center who are from out of town?
I would say so, but it's kind of hard for me to guess because we don't have any metrics on that part.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of our demographics from the Native American community, it's a diverse array of locations that they could come from. One of the things that we're kind of unique in this regard is that some of our students maybe coming from the Navajo Nation. Navajo Nation is one of our obviously more predominantly tribes that are represented here on campus.
Yeah.
And they may come from the inner parts of the reservation, but they might have family members or friends who live in or around the Farmington area, and they'll maybe end up crashing there over the night and coming into the classes in the morning and daytime. So, I'm sure we do. I just don't really have the metrics to answer that, right now in front of me.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I was just going to say, you mentioned it's like a home away from home, and I think that's really cool that even if you are from the area or you're not from the area, sometimes it's more motivating, like, to have a place where you can go to study and hang out and have a little snack sometimes, and it helps you stay on the right track more than if you were just, like, wandering the halls aimlessly, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea it was, like, so personable. I didn't even know you had half of the stuff in there, so that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and we're open to everyone. It's not just being native. We have other folks that come in. Once they start hearing about the free coffee.
Once they hear about the air fryer.
Yeah, the air fryer. So, there are different things that, we don't discriminate. We don't say no. Okay. So, we just want to make sure that people feel safe in that environment. And, that's one of the things that we try to do from as soon as they enter, as soon as they leave. We have a great student employees, but also we have a great administrative assistant who really are dedicated to helping our students and community members who enter the Native American Center.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And we've heard that, or we were looking on the website, we know that there's a student-led club at your center called the All Nations Leadership Association. Can you tell us more about what members of the club might do?
Sure. So again, this is an inclusive club. You don't have to be Native American to join it, but essentially it's a student-led, student-sanctioned club here at Salmon College, and they have a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and whatnot, and their role is to bring in that student voice whenever we decide things that should be happening at the Native American Center. As much as I want to be actively involved in everything, sometimes, I'm stretched a little bit too thin, but that's great. But that's the reason why, sometimes I'll lean on this club to help build momentum, or maybe figure out certain things that I may not see that students now want in their, at the Native American Center to help, either increase their cultural awareness or to spread, some sort of, community feeling with other parts of that may be neglected to some extent. And they really just try to, I guess it's more of a, going back to some of the acronyms, they're really a leadership. And that's, I think, one of the major focuses of that organization in particular, because, we want to instill the responsibilities that they're going to be handling, and hopefully they'll reap the benefits from taking ownership of what they want to do. And of course, they'll be supportive, or any director would be very supportive of things that they want to do. But, obviously there's steps that need to be, steps in planning that need to be done. And these clubs and organizations, I think, really help them. And this all Native Nations, they really do the same. They are in that same area where they help each other, they help the school, and they help spread awareness to Native American traditions and cultural means and ties.
Yeah, that's really cool. So just like a secondary support system when you're not sort of able to handle all this stuff.
Correct. In years past, they were really instrumental in our planning of the annual powwow that we do, and hopefully in the next couple, maybe hopefully this upcoming year, they can be more engaged in that. But obviously, it's a balancing thing where right around the powwow's time, which happens in April, students are, kind of gearing up for the end of the year.
Yeah.
Midterm studying. So there's a lot to put on their plate, and I don't want to overwhelm them too much. But obviously, I want to make sure that they're kept in the fold when it comes down to being an active participant in our events.
Okay. Which is important too, because your center is geared towards helping students, so why not have students input to help organize things and stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
And sorry, speaking of the annual POW, for those who haven't attended, what happens at this event usually? And could you, elaborate more on the traditions behind it?
Yeah, so this is a very annual tradition. There are some gaps here and there, but it's obviously done pretty much on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big times that it would probably be in the, I would say maybe the mid 2000s to the early 2010 era, where they held it over at McGee Park.
Oh, really?
And it was a very big, it was a competition powwow, and our powwow is considered a social powwow.
Yeah.
Which means, it's just pretty much just as it is. There's really no cash prizes. It's more or less just kind of, gathering your friends and family together and just having pretty much a good time, and perhaps learning new techniques, as there's usually a larger powwow called the Gathering of Nations that happens in Albuquerque at the end of April. But the San Juan College Intertribal Powwow usually happens in the first 2 weekends of April, and it kind of fluctuates with the Easter schedule. But what it entails is that right now we have a gore dance, which kind of kicks things off, and there's kind of a ceremonial value behind a gore dance. And I don't want to go way too much in detail, but it's usually just kind of a precursor sometimes to a lot of the powwow traditions. The gore dance was meant, to my understanding, to be about warriors who went into the field or into, this is back in, 1600s, given whatnot, and, they fought for their families and their land. But then when they returned back, there were these ceremonies that were done in their honor, to provide healing, maybe provide a sense of calmness. And these gore dances are kind of in that, they are still today kind of done in that style and that ceremony way. But then we have the powwow, which is a little more upbeat. It's and we do this all on the same day here at San Juan College. And the powwow pretty much showcases just different types of dances that happen throughout the country. I mean, powwows kind of started out on the East Coast and kind of migrated over to the West Coast. And over the years and centuries, to an extent, they really added on to the different. They added on to the powwow dance circuits. And so what we try to do is, knowing that we have over 30 tribes that are represented here on campus, it's not just Navajo or Pueblos or Apaches, but we also now have Utes. We have folks who are now, we have tribes that are being represented from Minnesota, Wisconsin. I believe we have a couple from California, Alaska. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know that we do have quite a diverse number of tribes that we value their cultural history, and usually these powwows kind of fuse everything together. And again, as I said before, it's a little more celebratory in that regard. So there will be, it's still competitive style-ish. You definitely want to show your best game, so to speak.
Yeah, duh.
But of course, the audience loves different types. I think one of probably the most favorite ones would be a men's fancy dance, and then there's also the jingle dress. So there are the fancy shawl. So there's some really favorite ones that people really love to see, just because of the fashion, the colors. I mean, the regalia, and also just the singing from the drum groups that we bring to the college campus.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So you sort of touched on the groups that are in attendance usually, but would you, recommend the event to anyone, just regardless of culture, to come and learn more about, the traditions behind it and some of the stuff that you do regularly?
Yeah. So we, as I said before, all of our, the Native American Center itself, we're very inclusive, and I would say our objective really is to try to educate anyone who wants to learn more about Native Americans, indigenous folks across the country.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we have 565 federally recognized tribes across the country, and there are a lot of similarities, but then there are a lot of differences. When you start going into the weeds of learning a little bit more about each tribe's triumphs and unfortunately some of the bad things that have happened to their tribes over the last decades and centuries, you have a better understanding. So these events that we put together, we definitely try to educate any way that we can. And the last two powwows, we now have these big informational phone boards that try to educate folks just on a very basic level of what they're watching, what they're looking at, what they should do, what they shouldn't be doing. But for the most part, I would say that just come in with an open mind. It's not, the things that we generally put out into the public here at Samuel College, at least, are meant for the public.
Yeah.
So, folks can take photos if they want, obviously be respectful, but, this is just a learning experience. I mean, we are at a higher education institution.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the whole thing, is just to learn by either observing, watching, or now when you attend some of our events, or if not all of our events, we usually put up some sort of informational flyer or some sort of phone board that kind of gives some key aspects of why this certain event or workshop, what we might have at the Native American Center that we're offering. But these are things that we definitely want to educate the public on.
Yeah. I do think that's super cool. It's cool to hear about like how all the different cultures will come together, and even if it's just on a basic level, it's still cool from an outsider perspective to learn more about it. And we, like you said, it happens in April, so the one for this year has already happened. Can you tell us about how that one went for this year?
Yeah, so we so this is the second year that we've actually had it over at the Health and Human Performance Center, so it's indoors. And as some of you may know who've been here for quite some time, April is a very treacherous month where you can never predict the weather. And,
yes.
When I first started here almost 3 years ago, the weather, it was then the powwow was scheduled to be outdoors.
Yeah.
At the softball or the soccer fields up north, North Campus, and it was really bad. I mean, the weather reports were coming in that it was going to be mid-30s, windy, maybe snowing, maybe raining.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was just not ideal weather. So, I talked to the folks here, the administration folks, and they kind of agreed that we should start perhaps looking indoors. And I'm thankful to the folks over at the HHPC Health Human Performance Center who heard our story and were able to open their doors to our event. So this year was the second year that we had it at HHPC. It was a 12-hour event from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and we have food vendor. We have Aladdin Foods who were preparing native foods in addition to their normal foods. But then we also have arts and craft vendors. We had over 30 vendors this year.
Wow.
And they're selling all sorts of unique items that are all handmade by a Native American artisan. And we also had our gourd dance from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then from 6 to 10 was our powwow. But I would say throughout the entirety of the day, I would say we had probably over 2,000 folks who came in and out of those doors at the gymnasium and either watch the gourd dance or then end up coming down to watch grand entry at the powwow. So it was a very successful event, and these are very safe events. They're obviously folks were taking photos and having a good time. I mean, just walking around, hearing family members, talk about how they haven't seen each other in a while. So these are really, honestly, have become maybe a mini family reunion. Where the people just kind of come together. Haven't seen you in a while. Hugs happen. So it was very endearing to see how some of our events really capture kind of the family essence.
Yeah.
But also at the same time showcasing and their tribal tribal traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a nice break from just how busy college gets sometimes to just have a moment to reconnect with your family. And I think that's super sweet, and to like just see all the pretty colors and all the dances and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I had no idea you guys had moved inside, so shout out to the HHPC for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and admission's free, so we try to do everything we can to, again, as I said before, make everything very inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think keeping no admission fees is probably one of the best selling points that we have.
Yeah.
For the,
I'm like, ooh,
for these
free.
events.
Awesome. Yeah, and real quick, before we run out of time, in your opinion, as the director of the center, why is the center important on campus, and what's your favorite part of directing it?
So, it's a connecting point. There are different. I remember, it's always interesting to see at the very beginning of the year. You'll have students have the deer in the headlights look.
Yeah.
They don't know where to go.
Been there, yeah.
They may not have any friends. But over the year, you get to see them develop friendships. They end up having tutoring sessions in our conference room. They end up having study sessions in our conference room or throughout the Native American Center. So that's kind of a cool thing to see from an administrator like me.
Yeah.
To see that this is actually working, because I can't, there's always that old saying, you can show a horse to the trough, but you really can't make it drink.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm glad to see that students are really utilizing the space that's been, given to them, and bringing in their other friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's way too much laughter going on.
You're like, guys, too.
Yeah. So, I guess that's kind of, spirals into why I like this job, is just to see the connection, because there are a lot of times you really can't measure that on some sort of metrics.
Yeah.
But the fact that I have some numbers in front of me. So last year, for instance, we had about 2,200 people who signed up in our sign-in sheet.
Oh my gosh.
But this year so far, and this is not including April numbers yet, but we already had 3,400 people who signed in our sign-in sheet. So obviously, you can tell there's a need for it.
Yeah.
People come to our Native American Center, and obviously, I'm always looking for bigger space. But I think having it very nice and cozy, I think, kind of keeps it a little bit intimate, and everyone kind of, it's a different feeling. And I don't want to make it obviously too big where it seems, you're kind of just one out of a number.
Yeah.
Here, I think people really have a better understanding of each other and their situation. And so, and that's really, like I said, it's really cool to see firsthand from beginning to the end, where people now are like, what are you going to do for the summer? They're all making plans with each other now. So I know.
Well, that's very
And that's better, like, in my opinion. You can hear statistics all day if you want, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this many people signed up, this many people were there. But it's another thing entirely to actually see the connections growing and, like, seeing how people actually value the space. And hearing it from someone who works there and is the director of it, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And sadly, with that remark, I do believe we're out of time. But it was lovely having you on the show. And, yeah, we definitely learned about your center. And, yeah, so glad to have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation.
Of course, yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Good luck.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
And that about wraps up our episode for today. And so we hope everyone has a good day, and we will see you on the next one.
Cool. Bye, everyone.